Fall Fashion 2025 isn't just about new trends, it's about dominance. What's really taking over this season is a mindset, a visual code, and a cultural reset. The fashion world is collectively saying, enough with chaos, enough with fast novelty, enough with trying too hard. What's dominating right now is refinement, balance, and control. The silhouettes this fall carry power. They're structured without being stiff, fluid without being sloppy. They create presence. The kind of presence that signals you've arrived without needing to announce yourself. That's why the trends dominating this season are not about shock value, but about longevity. They're designed to look good today, next season, and years from now. Another dominant shift, restraint as a form of power. Fall 2025 is putting an end to overexposure. The dominance isn't in showing more, it's in suggesting more. When you cover up, when you keep people guessing, when you leave space for interpretation, that's when you gain control of the room. Fashion has finally turned back to this truth, and it's rewriting what attractiveness means. We're also seeing elegance replace excess. The dominance of understated luxury means that people want to look admired and respected, not just noticed. It's about dressing in a way that communicates competence, intelligence, and intrigue. This is why trends rooted in timelessness are pushing aside the gimmicky ones, because people want pieces that don't make them look like a fad, but like a force. And finally, dominance this fall comes from alignment. Clothing that matches not just the season, but the life you want to project. Trends that elevate your presence instead of cheapening it. Trends that carry you into any room and silently announce that you belong. If you want the full breakdown of how these dominating fall fashion codes play out in real life and what they mean psychologically, make sure you're following @GTWJ Mag, because this season is about more than clothes. It's about power, presence, and rewriting how elegance looks in 2025. This fall is about dominance, not in the sense of loudness or vulgarity, but in presence. The trends that will truly take over are the ones that carry power without having to beg for attention. What we're seeing in 2025 is that people no longer want to look like they're trying too hard or chasing aesthetics that will be forgotten in 6 months. They want to embody elegance, refinement, and subtle strength. Fall fashion this year is going to be about the woman who walks into a room and everyone takes note. Not because of what she's revealing, but because of what she's withholding. We're moving away from cheapness in every sense. Cheap materials, cheap styling, and cheap signals. The people who win this season are those who understand that less is more, but only when the less is purposeful. Minimalism now is not about emptiness, it's about richness in cut, texture, and form. You'll see dominance in the way tailoring is being emphasized, clothing that makes you look sculpted, intentional, and commanding. This is why brands rooted in subtle power, not screaming logos, are leading the way. Fall 2025 is also a season of contrast, but controlled contrast. It's about knowing when to play with fluidity and when to sharpen your edges. It's not about looking like everyone else. It's about showing that you know the language of refinement and you choose how to speak it. That choice is power. You'll see it in monochromatic dressing, in thoughtful layering, in silhouettes that are both strong and graceful. And the dominance here isn't just in the clothes, it's in the psychology. People are exhausted by the cycle of hyper trends, of chasing looks that have no depth. They want to be admired for their taste, not their desperation. Fall 2025 rewards the woman who knows herself, who understands that true style doesn't ask for approval, it commands respect. That is what will dominate this season. It's not about looking trendy, it's about looking untouchable, elegant, and timeless in a way that makes the trends work for you, not the other way around. Follow GTWJ Mag for more, because this is just the beginning of a fashion season where elegance, mystery, and power will decide who stands out and who fades into the noise. Fall 2025 is shaping up to be a season where fashion doesn't just decorate the body, it defines the aura. The trends that will dominate aren't the ones that shout for validation, but the ones that quietly shift how others perceive you. This is about commanding presence in subtle but undeniable ways. The deeper truth is that people are done with fashion that makes them look disposable. They don't want to wear things that will look tired in a month, or that scream for attention with nothing behind them. What resonates now is fashion that looks considered, intentional, and timeless while still feeling modern. The woman who embodies this is admired not because she's following trends, but because she looks like she lives above them. That's why structure, silhouette, and proportion are key this fall. When you wear something that fits like it was made for you, that sculpts your posture and frames you with elegance, you project authority without saying a word. Pair that with textures and tones that feel luxurious without trying too hard, and you've already separated yourself from the noise. There's also a psychological shift happening. Admiration is no longer tied to shock value. Real respect comes from appearing unshakable, untouchable, and mysterious. The fall trends that dominate are the ones that don't reveal everything. They leave room for imagination. This restraint, this elegance, is what makes people lean in and look closer. Fall 2025 belongs to those who understand that dominance in fashion isn't about being louder, but about being more refined, more composed, and more intentional than everyone else. That's the real trend this season, fashion as quiet authority. Fall 2025 fashion dominance is not about chasing novelty, but about mastering permanence. The trends that truly take over this season are the ones that shift how people carry themselves, how they're perceived in a room, and ultimately how they're remembered. What's becoming clear is that fashion now is less about standing out and more about standing above. The woman who dominates this fall doesn't need to rely on loudness or hypersexuality. She walks in looking polished, structured, and balanced. Her presence feels undeniable because it isn't screaming, it's commanding. That's the real shift. Admiration is being pulled away from the flash and poured into refinement. This fall, everything is about control. Control of proportions, control of quality, control of the message you send before you even speak. People are tired of fashion that feels disposable or chaotic. Instead, the trends that win are the ones that provide clarity. Pieces that frame you in strength and subtlety. Materials that suggest depth without excess. Styling that whispers luxury rather than broadcasting it. And here's the truth. The fashion world is moving towards a psychology of mystery. To dominate now means to be remembered not for revealing, but for concealing. The most admired woman isn't the one exposing everything. She's the one who makes you curious, the one who looks complete without trying to be noticed. This fall is about reclaiming that power. So when we say these trends will dominate, it's not about popularity, it's about influence. It's about the shift in what people aspire to look like. Not cheap, not obvious, but quietly untouchable. That is the fall 2025 aesthetic, and it's only just beginning. And for more of this kind of deep dive into fashion's psychology and meaning, follow GTWJ Mag. We're building a space where style isn't just seen, it's understood.